Hello. In this video, we'll be going over IRS Form 1098-E, Student Loan Interest Statement. This is a fairly straightforward tax form to understand, so we'll spend a brief amount of time going through the form so that you can understand what it means. And then we're going to spend a decent amount of time talking about what you can use this form for in terms of reporting on your tax return and what you cannot. And once we get to certain aspects, things that we are calculating to reduce our taxable income, we'll put links to other videos and articles that we've created specifically to help guide you along that venture. So for most people should recognize what IRS Form 1098-E is. It's the tax form that you would receive from anyone that you borrow money from for a qualified student loan. So the IRS has specific definition of what a qualified student loan is, but if you obtained any kind of higher education from an accredited institution towards a degree program, a certificate, or to further your education in a broad sense, most of the time that's going to be qualified education. And then if you took out specifically a student loan to pay for that, then you should receive a Form 1098-E. So on the left-hand side, we'll have the taxpayer information. At the very top will be the lender's name, address, and phone number. So in this case, John Doe took out a student loan from Acme Student Loans. You'll see their taxpayer ID number in this form. There are 3 copies of this form, so on most copies you'll see the borrower's taxpayer ID number that's truncated here. Basically, if you saw the IRS version, it would have the complete taxpayer ID number. So that could be a social security number. It could be an individual taxpayer ID number for people that may not qualify for a social security number due to their residency status. It could be an adoption taxpayer ID number, or it could be an employer identification number. So below that, you'll have the borrower's name and street address. It is important to take a look at this to make sure that it's correct, because if the incorrect information is being reported here, then odds are you may not be getting this tax form. But if you do get it, you should definitely make sure it's updated for future purposes. And then below that, you'll see an account number. If that is blank, there's no real tax impact. You may have an account number based on whatever account system the student loan servicer set up for you. So this is only a requirement if for some reason you receive 2 Form 1098-Es, like if you took out a subsequent student loan from the same issuer and they had to set up a separate account, then you would receive a separate Form 1098-E for each account that was established. On the right-hand side of the form, there are 2 information fields. In box 1 is the student loan interest that was received by the lender. And then in box 2, if this is checked, that means that box 1 does not include loan origination fees and or capitalized interest for loans made before September 1st, 2004. So generally speaking, what this means is for some older student loans, i.e. student loans that were originated before September 1st, 2004, anything that was a loan origination fee or capitalized interest is not included in this box 1. So what does that mean to you? It means that for taxpayers that are relying only on this number, you could be missing out on student loan interest that should be calculated as part of your tax deduction. So you are able to deduct up to $2,500 per year. So in this case, John Doe paid $5,000 worth of interest. So anything that he would add on in terms of loan origination fees or capitalized interest would probably not be usable to reduce his taxable income in the first place. However, if this amount was $1,000 and then you look through your loan statements and you discover that you paid $100 worth of loan origination fees throughout the year, and you had $500 worth of capitalized interest on a loan that was accumulating before you started making debt payments, then this is not an accurate reflection of your deduction. So we do cover a little bit more detail how to do this. You can find that information either in IRS Publication 970, which is Tax Benefits for Education, or you can go to our article. So we'll put a link in our show notes to the article, or you can go to teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in IRS Form 1098-E, and you'll see an example of how you would be able to allocate student loan interest based on your student service statement. For example, if this box is checked, then you would need to do a manual calculation to make sure you're taking full credit for all of those loan origination fees and or capitalized interest. Or if you paid less than $600 in a given year of tax interest and the loan issuer is exempt from having to file a Form 1098-E on your behalf, then you may need to calculate this just to get any amount of interest, because you'll only receive a Form 1098-E if you paid $600 or more of student interest during the tax year. So we do break down the order. Basically, any student loan interest that was identified in the student loan payment statement, that's first, then loan origination fees, then capitalized interest for loans, and then the rest of the payments are allocated to principal. So you can find that detail in our article. So once you receive this amount, there are two different ways that you can determine your tax deduction. So for taxpayers, for most taxpayers, you would deduct it on Schedule 1, which is additional income and adjustments to income. That's actually entered as an adjustment to income. So that means that's an adjustment to arrive at adjusted gross income, or AGI. That's actually better than an adjustment from income, because if you deduct this amount of interest from your income to determine your AGI, it keeps your AGI a little bit lower, which could help when taxpayers who may be subject to income phase outs for things like Roth contributions, IRA deductions, things of that nature. So this is what used to be called an above the line tax deduction. So most people can follow the instructions located in the Schedule 1 instructions. There's a worksheet that you would use to walk through that. We'll put a link to that walkthrough, that YouTube video, in the show notes as well. However, if you filed IRS Form 2555 to declare foreign earned income, if you are excluding income from American Samoa or from Puerto Rico, then you may need to use a different worksheet to calculate your student loan interest deduction. That worksheet is located in IRS Publication 970. We'll put a link to the walkthrough of that worksheet in our show notes as well. So that's how you would determine the tax impact of your student loan interest. Now, I do want to take a moment to clarify this because there are a couple of questions that are commonly asked. And probably one of the most frequently asked questions is, what does this tax form have to do with IRS Form 8863, which is the education credits? So IRS Form 8863, you use that to calculate either the American Opportunity Tax Credit or the Lifetime Learning Credit. And the answer to this question is generally zero. There is zero involvement because student loan interest is a different is treated differently than the cost of tuition and other qualified costs for higher education expenses. So those generally are reported to you on IRS Form 1099-T, and then you can use that information to walk through IRS Form 8863 to determine which tax credits you may be eligible for education expenses. And again, this is a tax deduction as opposed to the education credits that you would calculate elsewhere. So, and that information is reported on IRS Form 1099 or 1098-T. So that's probably the most frequently asked question that I would address in this video. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of forms and schedules mentioned either in this video or in the accompanying article. We'll put links in the show notes to all of those references and resources, as well as the walkthroughs for those tax deduction worksheets. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, or if there's a topic that we can discuss in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.